Morning, guys. How you doing? Welcome back to the Spurs Talk Show. I'm Sean Butler. Bugsy's over there. This is episode 185 now, I think, of Tottenham Walks. Second video of the day, and we're going to get into some managerial update news. Please do me a favour, guys. Smash the like button for me. Hit the subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell as well. And drop a comment. Let me know your thoughts on today's topic. And look, the managerial merry-go-round, it's looking more and more difficult to find and identify a manager who may want to take on what some are calling the poison chalice of Tottenham Hotspur. Let's be honest, every manager since Pochettino has failed, and a lot of them come away thinking that Daniel Levy is a difficult guy to work for. It looks increasingly likely that Enrique has distanced himself from the job. We haven't heard anything from Pochettino. Nagelsmann, the story's gone a little bit cold for the time being. I think Thomas Frank and De Zerbi have intimated that they're happy where they are and don't want to come. And so we're working our way through a shortlist that is looking longer and longer by the day. Next up, of the person who's been recommended to not join Tottenham Hotspur, is Arne Slot of Feyenoord. A retired Dutch manager called, I think his name's Ard de Mos. I don't know who that guy is. I'm sure he's huge in Holland, or maybe in football generally, but I don't remember him. Has urged the 44-year-old Arne Slot to reject Spurs because of their chairman, who is, quote, not easy to work with. He said on the Twee Vierti podcast on Soccer News, I wouldn't do that. It's turned out to be a graveyard for coaches. Whoever has been a coach in recent years, there is not a single coach who has been able to keep above water except Pochettino. The rest are all served. It's not easy to work with that chairman. It's not easy to work with the players who have been there too long, from Lloris to Kane, from Son to Dyer. That is a club that protects the dressing room well. There must first be a good selection in the dressing room. It's still a difficult thing when you're dealing with a chairman like Levy. It's been a long time since they've ever won anything. I was a huge fan of them as a boy, blah, 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 blah. I always have fond memories of Spurs, one of my favourite clubs to go to. Unfortunately, if the situation at such a club is not 100% pure, you will notice that in the results. They are lagging behind compared to Arsenal, City, Chelsea or Liverpool. First and foremost, I'll start with the last bit first. We're definitely lagging behind City, consistently. Arsenal are going through an amazing turn of fortune and strength, but it's one season. I think Tottenham have been better than Arsenal over the last 4 or 5 years in the Premier League, which I personally believe is the correct barometer to see how you're doing, because it removes the variance of cup competitions. However, they of course have won a trophy even under Arteta, so you can't take that away from them. Liverpool and Chelsea, again, going through their own transitions, and you would say that they are in better spots than Tottenham. But if you ask a lot of the fans of those two clubs, there's a hell of a lot of unrest and dissatisfaction with their setup at the moment too. As far as what he says about the dressing room, I actually make him spot on. The dressing room is protected too much. And if that is the case, if that is the philosophy of the club, then the dressing room needs to be better, needs to be filled with better players than we currently have. And if it's of poor quality that is also protected by the chairman, then that is a problem for managers who need more autonomy and authority to make decisions that are then not offered it by an overbearing, overzealous Daniel Levy. And look, if I don't know too much about Arne Slot's Feyenoord career, I don't know what sort of football he plays. I haven't looked into him, so I'm not going to comment on that. I know a few other people in the Tottenham content space are interested in him. Yeah, I can't, like I say, I don't have really an opinion on him yet. But what I would say is, if he listens to his mate, then he's going to steer well clear as well. And that feels like a trend at the moment. And this is a problem. If there is this narrative, this energy, and this story time that is going around into the footballing world, the managerial community, that you can't work for Daniel Levy, then that is a problem. And it leans into one of the other stories that are out there this morning, not so much a news article, more of an op-ed from the Daily Mirror, where the journalist is saying Daniel Levy has to step down from his role as chairman because it's proving to be, a disaster, and the energy that exists in the fan base towards him, the patience and the love, is no longer there in large parts of the community. And he's bang on. He even said Everton away on Monday night could be an incredibly weird atmosphere where you have two sets of fans, both of which on loop are singing for their own chairman to get out of their club. It will be interesting. I'll talk about Everton tomorrow or over the weekend with you guys, but it could be a fascinating game. It'll be very interesting to see what version of Tottenham turn up. We could lose the game 3-0 or we could win the game 3-0 depending on the reaction from these players. I think we'll tell a lot by what happens in that game. Anyway, back to the managerial search. As I said in the last video, Daniel Levy should not be focusing on player transfers at this stage. He needs to be focusing with his board on figuring out what the hell the direction of the club is and who's the manager going to be. And if there's so many people that are distancing themselves, then you might have to go down a league and look at one of the up-and-coming prospects, a guy that Pep Guardiola said will be managing Manchester City one day, and that is, of course, the City legend that is Vincent Kompany. Currently managing at Burnley, leading the Championship, doing a very, very good job. I was under the impression from reading a lot about him, because I don't really watch too much of Burnley, I'll be honest, this season, that he was more sort of defensive football, more of a pragmatist. But having actually looked into it today and looked at Burnley's recent results, the highlights, and then reading up about their recent games, and also then looking up about how people felt about him when he was at Anderlecht for the previous 3 seasons, where he took Anderlecht each season to the top 3 or 4 spots in Belgium and also improved their points tallies every single year. The feedback on his football is entirely different to what I was initially under the impression of. That actually he plays very, very attractive football, that he can pivot from a back 3. He even played with a 4-4-2 in his final year at Anderlecht, bringing back the 4-4-2 like Harry Redknapp, and saying that his style was one of possession, but whipping the ball from left to right with ease, consummate ease, and the opposition never knowing which way that the team was going to attack from, because everybody had the confidence and the ability to ping the ball around with deliberate intention and with creative, innovative mindsets. The feedback I've read about him is that he's very, very impressive and surely one to watch for the future. I say one for the future because obviously it's a huge risk, right? It's a huge risk stepping up from the Belgium League to the Championship and then going into the Premier League with a team like Tottenham. How's he going to get on with the chairman? How would he get on with the players? Look, he as a player was an absolute leader and a warrior, and I think that kind of mindset, like I said last time, you would hope that leadership quality can be distributed from the top guy into his team, his players. But Conte wasn't prepared to do that by all accounts. Is Vincent Kompany someone who would want to spend more time? I don't know what his man management kind of style is like. I don't know, if he's an arm around your shoulder style, or if he's a more of a do as I say, or you're out of the team. I don't know that about him. So if you do know, let me know. And what are your thoughts on him? Do we have to maybe shake hands with reality and realise that, there's going to be a lot of managers that will still want to come to Tottenham if the money's right, but are we really going to be able to attract a manager that's within the first 2 or 3? Is Poch going to want to come back in this environment? Right now, to me, it looks like it's either going to be Poch, or it's going to be someone that doesn't have any kind of gravitas. And I'm okay with it, by the way. I am okay with it, but it's a unsettling period for Tottenham fans, isn't it? I don't know how else to portray it. For me, we'll see what happens, but Daniel Levy, you need to get your finger out and park your ego at the door. Listen to people that understand football. Bring in some people around you that understand not just Tottenham but the game as well, and learn how to delegate some of your responsibilities to places where they know what's in the best interests of the club, and not just in the best interests of your your ego. Like, I don't know what else to say. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, bye-bye.